person beside you.
Good evening. My name is Theodis Pace, and I'm the president of the Kankakee County branch of the NAACP, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the 21st Circuit Clerk Candidates Forum. Again, we'd like to thank Sandy Siasi, Dondi Miracle, and Ms. Nicole Scott for taking time out of your busy schedule to participate and let the voters hear your platform. The panelist for the evening is Ms. Ayanna Smith, community activist, Mr. Mike Rubel, the Valley WVLL-I, radio personality, and Mr. Jeff Bonte from the Daily Journal. Also, we'd like to thank Mr. Steve Bertrand, director of the Kankakee Public Library, and his staff for continuing to participate in partnership with the Kankakee branch of the NAACP. The timer of the evening is Branch Secretary Ms. Paulette Crank, and she'll be making sure that everyone is staying within their time frame. The moderator and the timer will be designated, which is designated by the NAACP of Kankakee County. The moderator has the final authority in all matters of time limits. Each candidate have a 2-minute opening and closing statement. And we're going to start the evening with Ms. Nicole Scott with her 2-minute opening statement. Ms. Scott.
Hello. My name is Nicole Scott. I am running for Circuit Clerk. I was born and raised here in Kankakee County and was inspired to run for Circuit Clerk after hearing about many issues within the office. My father purchased a Spring Green franchise the year before I was born, and then a storage business when I was 4 years old. I started helping in the office as soon as I learned the alphabet. I took note of their successes and failures to learn what works best, and this helped me hold a 4.0 GPA in my business classes in college. I've managed several local companies' offices, keeping their books, paying their state and federal taxes online, and helped them improve their performance and efficiency. Illinois law mandated computerization to be done by January of 2018. The current circuit clerk stood on this very stage 4 years ago, promising to have this completed, and started the process in 2016. That deadline came and went, but it is still not done. I personally hold a certificate in microcomputer business applications, and I have worked with many, many different computer programs, old and new alike. I believe this will help me to quickly adapt to the computer system and finally accomplish getting the circuit clerk's office in compliance with the law. I believe getting the court fully computerized, along with ensuring the office is informed of all new procedures, will resolve the issue of people being picked up on quashed warrants. Currently, the office is always playing catch-up, which forces the staff to work overtime. The current circuit clerk leaves early. I believe this contributes to the office consistently being over budget. I'm willing to be a strong leader who works beside the staff to help whenever and wherever is needed. I not only have experience with many different types of computer programs, but I'm also willing to learn anything I can to save the taxpayers' money. I will ensure all monies are accounted for with complete transparency, and I will never accept campaign donations from vendors. I would love the opportunity to serve my community and bring the taxpayers the fiscal responsibility they deserve. Thank you.
Ms. Yancey.
Thank you, NAACP, for hosting this forum. I appreciate the opportunity to showcase the differences between the candidates and prove why I should be reelected. I am Sandy C. Yancey, and I am your circuit clerk. I've been asked why I am seeking re-election. Simply, it's what I know. I have 16 years experience in the office, learning the record-keeping process from the ground up, working in the courtroom, and 10 of those years as the elected official. It's the hub of the judicial branch, consisting of several divisions, including civil, criminal, traffic, and juvenile. Our office is fast-paced and has a lot of moving parts. As the official record keeper and protector of all court filings and proceedings, it is a position that carries a lot of responsibility, of which I take seriously. I've been fiscally responsible and provided a steady hand to lead the office through the challenging financial crisis over the last several years. During my tenure, we've converted to a unified court case management system, stepped up collection efforts in collaboration with 2 different elected state's attorneys, netting over $9 million since 2011, brought court cases online for public access. We've been e-filing appeals and receiving e-filing for civil cases. We're continuing to preserve and digitize historical records, provide as much assistance to self-represented litigants as the law will allow, and assist them with the e-filing when needed. I've built great relationships with the departments of the Criminal Justice Division, as well as the County Board and other offices. During the challenging times of the pandemic, my experience was needed to navigate the sometimes daily changes. As you can see, my knowledge and dedication to the office is unmatched in this arena. I look forward to answering other questions this evening. Thank you.
Ms. Miracle.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dondi Miracle, and I'm running for Kankakee County Circuit Clerk. I'd like to thank the NAACP, the panel, and the voters. I have been a realtor for 22 years. I've welcomed new families into our community. The people, our families, and our neighbors make up the best of Kankakee County. Along with my husband Al, we've raised 4 children together here and have been involved in a number of community initiatives over the years, from raising funds to the Merchant Street Art Gallery for artists with autism, to volunteering several hours to the Lions Club, the Women's Club, and the Community Art Council, just to name a few. Currently, I'm president of the board of directors for the Hippocrates Medical Clinic. The board's work to help bring truly free health care to our county. A person can walk into the clinic, get medical care for free, and yet we did it by maintaining resources, being creative, and worrying about getting it done rather than whom gets the credit for it. To me, community service has always been very important, and I'm passionate about serving the people, and that's how the circuit clerk's office should be ran, working together. Public can be better served by educating them on access to the courts, and most important, we can be a partner in public safety, helping law enforcement to keep the community safe by maximizing their ability to do their job. When I'm elected, I will begin on day 1 to improve public service, public education, and public safety in the circuit clerk's office.
Thank you. Mr. Rube, you have the first question. Ms. Yancey, please.
Thank you. Again, good evening to everybody. In your view, what is the most important issue in this race and why?
The most important issue in this race is electing the perfect person and the right person for the job. With the experience I have, protecting the court records is paramount in any of that's what our duty is. And we just need to make sure that the record is kept and that the right person is in there to do the job.
Ms. Miracle.
One of the biggest issues is public safety. When you have warrants that aren't being processed properly and timely, as a result, dangerous individuals are not being arrested because of the circuit clerk didn't process the warrants, and people who shouldn't have warrants are being arrested for the same reasons.
Ms. Scott.
I feel the biggest issue with the office is, again, the warrant issue. People are being picked up on warrants that were quashed because it was not put into the system properly. We have new processes that are taught at the conventions, and they are not being shown to the staff. I believe this needs to be changed. We need to make sure that all the staff knows every new procedure when it is known to the circuit clerk.
Ms. Smith, you have the next question. Question to Ms. Miracle.
What would you do to keep our city and county safe in terms of the records being filed on time so that the warrants, are filed in a correct time frame?
Well, currently, there's 2 different systems, and they need to be able to communicate with each other because it should be a 24/7, not a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It should be communication with the system so the law enforcement can all do their jobs.
Ms. Scott.
What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Ms. Smith.
What would you do to keep our city and county safe in terms of the records being filed on time?
Well, the good computer system should be having everything imaged immediately into the system, and once you image it in, it is actually available to everyone within the department. This is what the other circuit clerk offices that I have looked at do, and I feel if we had that, where we had, I mean, if you're online, it doesn't need to be within business hours, because online is available all the time. We should have everything digitally imaged so that it's available to everyone, and we're not wasting any more resources.
Ms. Yancey.
So the process is, whenever the warrant is issued in court, the clerk takes it back to her desk and she enters all the information into CourtView, and then she scans the image in and she images it right into CourtView. That part of the imaging is not available online, and that's by statute at the moment. So then they give the warrants to one of the supervisors. There's 4 of them, including myself. We then scan them in and we email them through the intranet, the sheriff's mail, so that it's a secure mailing system. And we then we put them in and we email it to CanCom, and we email it to the sheriff's department. Yes, there have been a few issues every once in a while, but we're human. People get out of court late, and there's 9 million things that have to happen right away every day. We do the best that we can.
Mr. Bounty, you have the question and the questions to Ms. Scott. Ms. Scott.
My question to you is, what makes you the best person for the circuit clerk at this time?
I believe I'm the best person for this position because of my background in computer programs. I have worked with programs from all the way in the 80s all the way through current today, and a wide variety of types, not just specific to one business. So I do have a lot of experience, and I would actually be able to be hands-on working on it.
Ms. Yancey.
Well, since computerization is a hot button issue, when I came into the office, the table had been set by the whole team who was no longer at the courthouse, between department heads, judges, and the clerk. Their plan was to continually advance once we converted to a more modern system. That is, until the bottom fell out of the county finances. We all agree that we should be further along. We have a software package that is over 10 years old and scanners that are now that old too. We have replaced parts numerous times on several of the scanners to save money. Yes, there have been some upgrades along the way, but not advanced enough to be able to easily integrate with the second software system that we are mandated to join. The testing for this project seems endless. Do I feel like I sound like a broken record every month at Criminal Justice? Of course, no question. There's no programming that we can do ourselves. It's up to both the software vendors. We are merely the testers and the monitors. The chief judge and I have taken steps to encourage both companies to step it up, but we are where we are at the time.
Ms. Miracle.
Well, I've spent my career working with people, helping them find solutions. I'll bring a positive leadership and have the experience to the office that needs improvements. Together, we can work, improve customer service, educate the public, and help law enforcement by making sure they have the current information to make the community safer.
Mr. Rubel, you have the question and questions to Ms. Yancey.
Do you feel there has been a morale problem, and does that affect the circuit clerk's office?
Sure, there's always a morale situation in an office. There's not one office in the world that is perfectly happy, everybody happy at the same time. I have new employees that I've been hiring, and they're happy to be there. We've had some turnover, and I'm sure we'll get into that later. But it's not as bad as what it's been made out to be. It's not as doom and gloom as it seems.
Ms. Miracle.
Well, you know what? I think it needs to be teamwork, positive leadership, and there needs to be solutions that needs to talk outside of the box.
Ms. Scott.
The way that I manage is management by objectives. I believe in empowering the people in the office, and I feel like we are losing long-term employees because they are not happy. Long-term employees do not leave a position unless they are extremely unhappy. I think that we should work with the people, and we need to get them so that they are happy and they feel empowered in their position.
Ms. Smith, question, Ms. Miracle.
How would the circuit clerk hire more workers of color to promote a more equal and diverse workforce in the office?
You know what, I believe that the workforce should be diverse. I'm not opposed to, making it equal, hiring new people. I think every office should be diverse.
Ms. Scott?
I think we have an issue with not enough people of color applying for the job, so I think that we should reach out actually to that community and try to get them to have more interest in being involved and work with us and let them know that this is a safe place and it will be a great job for them.
Ms. Yancey?
So in our office, the demographics of our office, we have 81% white and we have 21% Black and Hispanic and American Indian. The demographics of the county would be 72.3% and about 15% Black and 9% Hispanic American Indian. So we have some work to do. I do have the last set of applications that I put out were on Facebook, and I received a bunch of diverse people, and I've interviewed a few of them. So I believe, I would love to hire anybody. Finding people that are qualified, no matter what, is a difficult thing to do. I've even also sent my job descriptions to Theotis for him to disperse as well.
We have a question from the audience, sort of segue into the last question. To you, Ms. Scott. Do you believe there's a systematic racism in the criminal justice system? And if so, what role should judges play in addressing that situation in the office if you're elected?
Personally, I don't think that there is, or I'd like to think that there is not, but I do not see color, and I believe that we need to start making sure that everyone realizes that your character is not determined by your pigmentation, and I live it in my life, and I would live it wherever I go. It is who I am.
Ms. Yancey?
Could you repeat the question?
Do you believe there's a systematic racism in the criminal justice system? If it's so, what role should judges play in addressing that issue in your office?
Okay, so I do believe that systemic racism exists. As far as in the judicial system, how they can manage that, I think they do a really good job in Kankakee County. Within the corrections system, they have a couple of programs, Thinking for Change and other programs where they encourage and empower the people while they are in court or in jail, so that when they get out that there is a little bit of correction there, and give them tools to be able to handle the pressures of everyday life.
Ms. Miracle?
Well, I believe it exists, but I'm not sure if it exists in the court systems. I do know that the county, the sheriff's department, along with several other community leaders have gotten together, and I think they discuss stuff of issues that they can resolve. So I think it's a positive step toward solving problems.
Mr. Bounty, you have the next question. The question is to Ms. Yancey.
Under the current circumstances of the office, would you be allowed to hire people, considering the economic situation that has hit the county? So,
I actually have a couple of positions open that I am interviewing for, so it is possible. I interviewed them and I sent the background check to be done, and I was out last week, so now this week I'm going to bring a couple of them back for second interviews.
Ms. Miracle?
Okay, can you repeat that question, please?
Under the current circumstances of
Budgets.
the budget, would you be able to hire more people to help with the overtime situation?
Oh, I thought you meant with racism, I'm sorry.
Well, I do know one thing. The office needs to be a little bit more efficient. When people e-file, they have to print everything off, scan it, and then upload it. So that's part of, to me, wasting time, and where the clerks could be doing other things once the system's fixed. Because there's some documents that are over 100 pages. And that takes time. And if the system was fixed, they wouldn't have to do that.
Ms. Scott?
I actually believe that simply by having the circuit clerk helping out and being there when the employees are working overtime, I think that would cut down a tremendous amount of the overtime, and that is what, if I'm elected, I plan to do. If my employees are in the office, I am too. That makes sure that the salary manager is working just as hard as the hourly employees.
Okay. Mr. Ruber, you have the question, and the questions to Ms. Miracle.
What is your vision for this office?
Well, the three things that I would like to change is make public safety to provide, to make it public safety, to give all police departments access to the criminal justice system 24/7, public service to provide access to the courts, ensure the frontline workers have adequate workspace training and positive leadership.
Could you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
Sure. What is your vision for this office?
Okay, my vision for this office is creating a much more user-friendly website for us. I even envision adding like YouTube links, which would be free to do, with explanations on how to do things like expungement, small claims, all of the things that we now are doing ourselves. We need simple explanations to it, and it can be done very easily. I'd like to see everything streamlined so that anybody dealing with the court, it is as painless as possible for them.
Ms. Yancey?
Well, I agree with all of those statements. We work very hard every day. Coming up in 2022, the structure in which we file and index cases and records is going to undergo a significant transition, which will also make us modify our case management system software, along with the integration that we may or may not have with the e-filing system. It will be another huge undertaking, and I need to be a part of that transformation.
Ms. Smith, you have the question, and the questions to Ms. Yancey.
What is your method for ensuring that all court records are up to date?
Well, how to ensure that they are up to date. So we have 10 judges when we're at full capacity in 9 courtrooms. We have a clerk for each judge, and currently we have 2 floater minute clerks and a supervisor. One is going to be out on medical leave here shortly. And so when there's some courts that have cases with 75 to 100 cases per court call, they're in court all day, and they don't have time to get back at their desk and get things done. So what we're trying to do is get another floater minute clerk in place, and then they can rotate in and out. What I've done for the traffic division is I've added a 3rd clerk, so there's 2 clerks that are with each judge, and then 1 that goes in and out for both courtrooms. And so she's trying to help keep that court call up and going as well. As far as when some of the e-filing is slow and the customer service is slow at the counter, those clerks have been also taking the steno books, and they've been helping out with small claims and some other simple traffic ticket things like that too. But the criminal, felony, and misdemeanor cases, those really have to be done. Oh, I'm sorry.
Stop. Ms.
Okay.
Miracle, you have a minute and 30 seconds to respond.
Okay, first of all, the system needs to communicate with each other. That, I think, is a public safety priority. Second of all, the frontline workers need to have adequate workspace, training, and, like I say, positive leadership. You can't e-file something and then have to duplicate that service. That system needs to be fixed.
Ms. Scott.
Can you repeat the question for me? I'm so sorry.
And that's okay. What is your method for ensuring that all court records stay up to date?
That would be easy by streamlining everything to make sure that everything is compatible. I know we started out at my dad's business in the 80s with computers that were networking, so I know it's very possible, and older computer programs are capable of networking and connecting to the other offices. So if we streamline everything, we should be able to have everything immediately imaged in. And personally, I would step up and be with my employees, and if they need help, I would say, where can I help you so that we can meet this goal?
Good. I think here's a question from the audience, and I think it'd be a good question at this particular time. We're talking about transparency, we're talking about budget. So how would you, starting with you, Ms. Miracle, how will you work with the county board since that's the approval of the budget?
Well,
So-
you know what, it's very important that every county works with the county board, and it shouldn't be about party. It's about working together, getting the job done, and staying within your budget.
Ms.
I
Scott.
agree, actually. I have excellent credit. It's highly important to me, and so in my business life and my personal life, staying within a budget is a very, very high priority to me. I believe that you have to work with other people, including the board, in order to make a cohesive experience for everyone.
Mr. Yancey.
And that's exactly what I do. So I work with Steve McCarty, who is the finance director. He's the go-to person, and then he ends up bringing it to the county board eventually. I have like 5 special fund budgets plus the 2 general fund budgets, and balancing what can come and go out of each one of those is very complicated, but it's done every year.
Mr. Bowden, you have the question. The question is to Ms. Scott.
In regards to the plans you have that you'd like to put in place, have you talked to any other county officials, county board president, the chief judge, state's attorney, chief public defender, in regards to what your plans would be? Have you reached out to those people?
I have actually reached out to some other counties that I liked the model that they had. Sangamon County is one of them. It's Lincoln's hometown, so I think that they have an excellent model on their website of how to be extremely user-friendly. Their goal is to be as technologically advanced as possible, and so I would like to actually bring in some of their ideas and implement what works for them here with us.
Ms. Yancey.
Well, one of the leading counties that I appreciate working with is DuPage County. They, I think, are one of the top-notch counties, and they have the luxury of having an IT staff that is able to create everything that they need, but their system is a standalone system, so they don't have a court view, or what Springfield has is Jano. They don't have, you know, a pre-made system.
Ms. Miracle.
Okay, I just know that I have talked to several different divisions. I know the court system or the computer systems do not talk with each other. They do not communicate. And I think once elected, that would be the first priority, is to sit down with team members, work it out, and get the job done so we can keep the public safe.
Ms. Scott.
Yes. Didn't I start that one?
Yeah.
You did.
Yes.
Question from the audience. Describe your position on transparency in the office and the ease of access of the records by the public. If you believe improvement are needed, if needed, what are they and how would you go about achieving them?
Again, I looked at the way that Sangamon County works. They actually do use the JANO systems, which personally I would have gone with. But they have their images immediately available to the public. If someone needs a document that they just left the courtroom, it's already in the system. They call up the circuit clerk's office, and and they can get the access code to print it up. They email it to them. Everything is done digitally, and this would bring a lot of efficiency into everything. Having everything streamlined and have everything so that you can do it immediately. If it is available immediately, there is not this waiting game of trying to figure out where it's at, or people getting, mixed up information because they don't have the most current information.
Ms. Yancey.
So with court view, it is what it is. We have our system, the courts, there's judges that won't even let minute clerks do typing their minutes into the computer during the court session. So they're certainly not going to be able to scan anything in there because it would make a lot of noise. They sit within 3 to 5 feet from the judge. So the JANO system is very much like what ours is as far as that goes, but, the courts are different. And, like I said, if we have judges that won't let them even type in the courtroom, how can they do any extra work? They have to do it when they get back to their desk.
Ms. Miracle.
Kind of in response to yours, I think if you work with the judges, it's teamwork. You find a solution. And also it comes back to the two systems need to communicate with each other. And you can't have e-filing and it not go in right away. You shouldn't have to duplicate where you scan it and have to upload it again. That just wastes a lot of time.
Mr. Rubel, you have the question, and the question is to Ms. Miracle.
How does your specific background make you best suited for this office?
Well, I've had my own business, an independent contractor, for 22 years. I've served on numerous committees over the last 25 years. I've been on the Martin Luther King Foundation, started the Rosa Parks Awards. I'm president of the Hippocrates Medical Clinic. We do a lot of fundraising. Just a lot of community service, and I think, I'm a good leader to get the job done.
Ms. Scott.
I believe that my background in business and computers really makes it so that I am the best candidate. I also, while I was married, I didn't work, and I volunteered extensively at our church, and I implemented programs that people thought were too large for our church to be able to do, and I pulled it off, and it was spectacular. So I am a goal-driven person, and if I set a goal, I will make it.
Ms. Yancey.
I have 10 years' experience in the office as the circuit clerk. I have over 16 years' service in the office, and I have 24 years' experience in municipal and county government.
Ms. Smith, you have the next question is to Ms. Scott.
How do you explain the revolving door of staff in the circuit clerk's office? How would you explain that?
From what I have talked to people in the office, they said it is because of the fact that they are working so much overtime and the circuit clerk is leaving early. They feel overworked and they are overwhelmed, so they are leaving and going somewhere where they are not as overworked. I believe a simple fix for that is simply being there to help them, making them not feel like they are completely alone and that it's on them to complete every task. It is a team effort, and that includes the team leader needs to be right there working with them.
Ms. Yancey.
So I have worked in the office from the ground up. I've worked at the customer service counter, I've worked in the courtroom, and I've worked as the leader. Turnover in any office happens. Some of the long-term employees left for employment elsewhere to make more money. It's always common knowledge that county government doesn't pay very much money. Some of the long-term and short-term employees left or are leaving to be caregivers for their family for various situations. Other short-term employees left for either family care or to obtain a better paying job out of state, or even one of them went back to her former employer because she had no idea how many duties were required. I think it is a coincidence that someone's trying to make it out to be more than it really is. I'm hiring great individuals who are thrilled to be working in this office, and it's not all doom and gloom like you are led to believe. I also will say that I am there every day. I work through lunch, and I am there the last to stay. So when people are still in court, sometimes we've been in court till 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and I've been there. So I don't leave early, and I am there all the time.
Ms. Miracle.
Okay, first of all, you need to have positive leadership. You need to appreciate the employees. You need to give them the proper training. Currently, only the circuit clerk goes to conventions. None of the staff goes. And I think that's very important to give people the tools they need to do their job. And I think they need to be appreciated.
Ms. Scott.
Again?
Hold on.
I started it?
He just likes your answer.
Mr. Bonnie, you have the questions to Ms. Yancey.
Can you tell me some of the complaints that you have received from the public in regards to your office and how you've been able to rectify those
So in what reference do you mean complaints to my office?
with service?
Okay, so there are times when people come to the counter and they are not happy. They're not there for happy situations to begin with. So a lot of times they take it out on the staff. If the staff can't please them and give them the answers that they need, then I go out there. I talk to the people and I work with them. Sometimes they're frustrated because they really don't understand what it is they're trying to ask for to begin with. So you have to play 20 questions to try and figure out and get to the root of the actual question. And then once we get that figured out, they may not still be happy, but it may not be at us. It may be more towards the situation than it is towards us.
Ms. Miracle.
Okay, it comes back to the proper training of staff. People need to be compassionate. When you come into an office, you're upset. You need to be compassionate and try to understand what they're feeling. Just a situation, I was at the water company when they were down on Schuyler, and I went in there to ask a question, and there's an elderly lady that was standing there, and she was asking a question, and the clerk kept saying, go over there and use the phone. Go over there and use the phone. And she was frustrated, and she didn't know what to do. She was confused. So the lady went over there, and I went over and said, can I help you? Let me help you get through this. That's what the clerk behind the water company should have done. She should have been a little bit more compassionate and helped her, but I think with the proper training, that can happen.
Ms. Scott.
Actually, I would like to make sure that the staff also understands interpersonal communications, because understanding that we all have our own perspective and everybody is bringing their own baggage would make it so that there's a lot more understanding and it's a lot harder to be angry at someone when you understand that they have so much more going on in their background. So I believe making sure that everyone knows how to deal with conflict resolution would be very helpful.
Ms. Yancey,
I was the one who started that.
okay. Mr. Rubel, question to Ms. Miracle.
How do you think an update of current equipment to state-of-the-art tech will change the way the courts run?
Well, I think it'd be more efficient because like I go back to the warrants aren't being processed properly and in a timely manner. Dangerous individuals are not being arrested because of the circuit clerks not processing the warrants, and people who shouldn't have warrants are being arrested for the same reason. I have had people tell me that they've been arrested and had to pay a fine when they shouldn't have.
Ms. Scott.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Sure. How do you think an update of current equipment to state-of-the-art tech will change the way that courts run?
I believe that can definitely help get it more efficient, but in all honesty, having worked with older programs and newer programs, you don't have to have the latest technology to have it be user-friendly and very efficient. So personally, I am very thrifty. I would rather not spend the money unless we have to.
Ms. Yancey?
And I agree with that statement completely. As soon as we get the final integration done with Courtview and Tyler Technologies, we will be much more efficient. The testing is very problematic, and it is what it is, and we're at where we're at.
Ms. Smith, you have the question, and the question is to Ms. Scott.
There's been a lot of talk about integrating these two systems to make the court system run a lot more effectively. But what is the proposed dollar amount for the budget that we will need to have this system run correctly or more efficiently?
Personally, I would like to look at it and see if we can work with what we have without spending any more money, because, I mean, it would be nice to be able to use what we have rather than go ahead and purchase more. So I can't really say an exact amount because I would rather not have to spend extra money unless it is absolutely necessary.
Ms. Scott, this ought to tie into another question from the audience. What is the current budget of the circuit clerk office? And that is an add-on to the question that she just asked.
I cannot remember exactly what it is because the last time we were discussing it, Ms. Cincinnati at the board meeting said that they were $450,000 over budget. So I am not exactly sure what the budget is. I just know that they are over it.
Okay. Ms. Yancey, you have the question and the question from the audience.
So what was the
Your
first
budget.
question again? About the
To Ms.
technology?
Smith.
The first question is, what is the budget that we may look at to integrate these two systems to make our system run more efficiently?
Okay, so the budget comes out of the oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it. Automation fund, thank you. And that is specifically earmarked for this project. So I've budgeted the maintenance that we pay, the annual maintenance fee that we pay, and then I've budgeted for this integration project. We haven't paid for the project yet until it's complete, so that money is still sitting in the bank. So, I mean, the project was a several $1,000,000 project that was taken out in 2009, and we are working with it. I can't really say, it's like $150,000 for the maintenance every year, and it is, each add-on project that we have, it costs, a great deal of money.
Ms. Miracle.
Well, it comes back to you have to have the right people in the right positions that know what they're doing to get the job done. And it should have been, when the e-filing was implemented, it should have happened right away. It shouldn't take 4 years to try to work the systems out.
Mr. Bounty, you have the question. The question is to Ms. Yancey.
Can you explain the $450,000 over budget?
We're not.
Okay. What causes the overtime?
What causes the overtime is the fact that the clerks are in the courtroom so long, and then they don't have time. When they get back, they have to do the warrants. That's the big topic of the evening, evidently. They have to get the court dates in the computer, and then it takes about an hour to check in their files for the day. The criminal courts, the judges are using files. They're not planning. I don't know which new judges will be in courtroom 300, but they use the file. They want their file. So when we check them in, you have, your 50 to 75 files. You have to figure out which ones are in custody and which ones aren't, which ones need to be on the video arraignment, which ones need to be brought over, which ones are from Jerome Combs, which are from the other jail. It takes them a lot of time. Then they have to figure out which ones have counsel, which ones have the public defender, which ones are pro se. So that takes at least an hour, hour and a half every afternoon. So when you're in court till 4 or 4:30, you've just got all these things. So then the next day you come to work, and then you're finding the files from the people that were arrested overnight and get that started again. And then you get to court by 9:30, and then it's just all day long. So it's just a very busy, very, very busy, fast-paced business.
Ms. Miracle?
Well, it comes back to, I think it has to be teamwork. The employees are the ones that are going to know how to make the office efficient, save money. Everybody has a budget. Everybody needs to live within their means of the budget and not ask other entities to give them some of their budget. It's just a matter of making the office more efficient, finding out where it needs to be efficient. And I think one of them is with the e-filing. I think that would save a lot of time from the employees.
Ms. Scott?
First off, I would like to say that Ms. Cincinnati did actually say $450,000 over budget at the county board meeting. I did not make that up. Those words came from her mouth. That is where I got that number. Also, she was stating that part of the reason for it was the constant overturning of people coming and going, and that there are people not in the office every week. But I feel like this is led by example. By having her always be the one that goes to all of the conferences and she's not in the office, this is a problem. I would take the department heads that are relevant to the convention, and I would have them go to the convention rather than it always having to be the circuit clerk. Whoever it is directly related to should be the people that are there learning it, and then bring the information back to the office and share it with the office.
May I respond to that real quick?
Sure. You have 30 seconds.
Sure. When I go to these conferences, I pay for them out of my own pocket. The budget I have used for staffing and everything else. I do not pay for staff to go out of my budget, and I don't pay for myself to go out of budget. So I don't collect mileage. The only thing I collect from the county is my registration, and that comes out of a special fund.
Ms. Miracle, you have an additional 30 seconds. If you want to add anything.
You know what? I firmly believe that training is very essential, and I believe that the staff should go to the conference and learn and bring back.
Ms. Scott, anything? Anything? You have 30 seconds. Everyone have additional 30 seconds. That's it?
No, that's all right.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Rugel, you have the question, and the questions to Ms. Miracle.
How important is the interaction with the state attorney's office, and why?
Well, I think you have to work together as a teamwork. I think it's very important. You have to communication, I think, is a big step.
Ms. Scott?
I think that every branch of our circuit clerk needs to be able to work together in cohesion, and political parties should not matter at all, because this is not political at all. So really working with all of the state's attorneys and all of that would just be common sense to, of course, get along with and work with them very easily.
Ms. Yancey?
I agree, and I couldn't agree more. I have an excellent relationship with not only Jim Rowe, his staff. I have an excellent relationship with the sheriff and his staff. I have an excellent relationship with the public defender and probation. So we do work well together.
Here's a question from the audience. Ms. Miracle, what is your position regarding the 35% interest fee on court costs if not paid in 30 days?
You know what, I think the program that they have, I think it's an expungement where the state's attorney implements it and the circuit clerk has to agree to it. I think that's a great program. If people can't afford to pay their ticket, they're not going to be able to afford to pay a fee on top of it.
Ms. Scott?
Harris & Harris is the only company that charges 30%. So in all honesty, if we switched from Harris & Harris, who has a horrible reputation on the Better Business Bureau, then we wouldn't be overcharging poor people who can't afford to pay their bills already.
Ms. Yancey?
So the state's attorney is the agency that does they were appointed as the special prosecutor in 2010 by the state's attorney, Jamie Boyd, and they started in 2011. And that was to ease some of the burden on our workload. What happens is then Jim Rowe, when he became state's attorney, he deeply vetted several agencies. I think there were 5 agencies, and ended up keeping Harris & Harris. In the end, he found the value in keeping them as appointed special prosecutors and saw the efficiencies we've built over the years, exchanging files electronically to maintain the financial transactions between us and them. The statute allows for the 30%, so it's not that Harris & Harris picked that out of the sky. That's what the statute allows.
Ms. Smith, you have the question is to Ms. Scott.
So there's been a lot of talk about mismanagement, sounds like, in the circuit clerk's office. So what is a good number to have workers, hire more workers to make the system run more efficiently?
It would be hard to say that we necessarily need more workers. I know that maybe we should have part-time workers. Like, I like the idea of involving the community, like maybe reach out to the high schoolers and have some high schoolers come in, work part-time in the summer, so that we are also inviting in and, still getting work done. It's just kind of not really something that I know a great deal about, though.
Okay.
Ms. Yancey?
So yes, I would say when I first started as circuit clerk, I had 50 employees, which was a combination of full-time and part-time employees. And then when the budget, the financial crisis hit and the bottom fell out, we were in the middle of our conversion from the old gavel system to Courtview. So we were working in 2 systems. So talk about what our 2 systems now, it was 10 times worse than it is right now. And through attrition, I've relieved all of the part-time people I had at that time. And then as people retired and left for other jobs, then I got down to 32 people, but 32 people is not sustainable in the office. We're at 38 right now, and I would say we're still not sustainable.
Ms. Miracle?
Okay, first of all, just to ensure that the frontline workers have adequate workspace, I think if you train them and give them positive leadership, people are willing to go that extra mile to help you if you treat them with respect and dignity and give them the tools they need to do their job.
Mr. Rugel, you have a question, and it is to Ms. Yancey.
What skills or qualities are most important in the circuit clerk's office?
Oh, definitely. Customer service is huge. I believe that my staff does a really good job with the customer service. The next thing that we need definitely are accurate note takers. When I became a clerk in the circuit clerk's office, I had speed writing, which was a course taught out at KCC, which is the alphabetic version of shorthand, and none of those things are taught anymore. So it is difficult to find people with those kinds of skills. So therefore, I encourage them, if they're good note takers for college or whatever, they just have to know what's going on in the courtroom to be able to take their own cliff notes and be able to transcribe them. And that's another reason why people can't help all the time, help out in the different courtrooms, is because they're writing their own notes, and it's hard to transcribe other people's notes if you weren't there, because your note sparks a memory of some sort. And so those are the basic qualities that we need.
Ms. Miracle?
Well, I think training, giving people the right tools to do their job makes all the difference in the world. I think anybody can be trained. I'm not sure what the question was. Can you repeat that?
Certainly. What skills or qualities are most important in the circuit clerk's office?
Okay, I think the communication and processing what you've heard, I think, is probably a big part of it.
Ms. Scott?
I believe that it's going to be technology again, and you need to know customer service, you need to be able to get along with people, and you need to be able to work with the staff and everybody in unison.
Great. We'd like to thank the candidates and wishing everyone luck on November 3rd. We'd like to thank our panelists, our timer, again, Mr. Bertrand and his staff from the Public Library. And we will have the 2-minute closing statement from each candidate, starting with you, Ms. Miracle.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the NAACP, the panel, and the voters. If a dedicated experience and qualification leads to innocent people being arrested on bad warrants and guilty people walking free, I prefer reform. We can make these improvements in a short order. We just have to assemble the right team, make service, education, and safety top priorities of the circuit clerk's office. The job will get done. It's what I've done my entire life, and our community will be better served, informed, and safe because of it. You may think it might take a miracle to get all this done. In fact, it only takes a miracle, Dondi miracle. I'm ready to get to work, and I hope you join my team to get the job done. Let's fix the broken process in the circuit clerk's office. Again, I'm Dondi Miracle. I'm running to be your next Kankakee County circuit clerk, and I'm asking for your vote and your prayers. Thank you.
Ms. Scott?
Hi, again, I'm Nicole Scott. I really would have a strong passion to help out the office and to bring efficiency to our office and do better by the taxpayers. I have the experience, I have the background. Business is all that I know, and customer service, I started out when I was young too. I played on the steps of the courthouse while my dad sprayed the lawn, so I do have special memories of the courthouse, and I would really love the opportunity to go back and, as an adult, work where I played as a child.
Ms. Yancey?
Thank you again to the NAACP for hosting this event. It has been my honor to present this evening. Back in 1996, when I was hired by Monica Bauer, I had no idea what the circuit clerk's office entailed. However, I knew I had the skills that I had obtained through my associate's degree at KCC. I was not pining to become a politician, nor was I pining to become the circuit clerk. I was joining an office atmosphere after having been self-employed hairstylist for 14 years. Fast forward to 2009. Kathy Thomas was the clerk then and asked me to return to the office to become the chief deputy clerk, which is second in command. I was stunned and eventually said yes. I've heard other eventual elected officials had the same experience, being asked to run for office when it wasn't even on their radar. When I became the circuit clerk some 14 or 15 months later, I had over 13 years combined experience between county and municipal government, having worked for the Village of Bourbonnais Mayor's office in the interim. I am asking for your vote. I am clearly the only qualified candidate, so much so that in 2016, Dondi actually donated to my campaign. And like I said earlier, I was not pining for an elected position. I just really care about every aspect of the job, and I enjoy the work. Party affiliation in this case should never enter into the decision. While most days we are completely overwhelmed, my staff and I continue to start fresh each day. Are we perfect? No, but we always strive to improve. We took an oath to faithfully discharge the duties of the office of circuit clerk in and for the county of Kankakee according to the best of my ability. And we do that. That I know is true. I humbly thank you for your time.
Thank you, all three of you. Again, wishing you luck on November 3rd. And again, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to participate.